Hey guys, Pastor Sean here. We're in week 8 of our Character of Destiny series, and I know we're all getting a little bit restless. This thing feels like it's going on forever, but I want to encourage you guys. It's going to come to an end. The Lord has this all well in hand, and there is going to come a time where this is in our rearview mirror, but God wants to meet us in our emotions. There are things that are getting stirred up right now, and that's the benefit of having a relationship with God, is that he gets to be in it with us, in the midst of it, not just this thing that we call out to and say, Lord, I hope you make it all better in the end, and we'll meet you there one day. He's here with us right now, and that's a strength of our relationship with him. So today we're going to talk about character of destiny and being servant-hearted. Now you can learn a lot about a person based on what they do when they're given power. And that's what we're going to talk about today with Joseph. In Genesis chapter 41, verses 37 through 46, we're going to read about how Joseph gets power from Pharaoh. Finally, his circumstances have changed, and the dream that he was given years ago is starting to come true. But like I said, you can learn a lot about a person based on what happens to them when they're given power. Joseph is going to gain power, but my question is, what would happen if you gained power today? What would it reveal about your character? Take a moment and really think about it as we dive into this passage. Genesis 41, verse 37 says, "This proposal pleased Pharaoh and all his servants. And Pharaoh said to his servants, 'Can we find a man like this, in whom is the Spirit of God?' Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, 'Since God has shown you all this, there is none so discerning and wise as you are. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall order themselves as you command. Only as regards to the throne will I be greater than you.' And Pharaoh said to Joseph, 'See, I have set you over all the land of Egypt.' Then Pharaoh took his signet ring from his hand and put it on Joseph's hand, and clothed him in garments of fine linen, and put a gold chain around his neck. And he made him ride in his second chariot, and they called out before him, 'Bow the knee.' Thus he set him over all the land of Egypt." So like I said, power reveals your character. And Joseph wasn't destroyed by the power he was given because he submitted to God's character refining journey along the way. Now, who put Pharaoh in power? You might think for a moment, this is a silly question, but was it Pharaoh or was it God? Because your answer makes a huge impact on what happens next. Ultimately, we're accountable to the person who puts us in power. So if it was Pharaoh, then Joseph is accountable to Pharaoh. But if it's God, then Joseph is accountable to God. And he needs to do everything that he does planning to give an account to the person who gave him that power. How many of you guys have ever seen somebody with a new pet, like a new dog, and they're like, "Ha, I have somebody I can rule over now." Or maybe an older sibling ruling over a younger sibling. Doesn't it obviously reveal what's going on inside of them? If they love power and they want to take advantage of the power that they have, they exercise it like freely and they just dominate whatever they have control over. But if they're kind and generous and they're secure in the power that they have, then they use it to be a blessing. And that's what God gives power for. See, God values all people and all life equally. And he says, whoever's going to take care of others the best, those are the people that I'm going to put in power. Those are the people I'm going to give my power to, because I want them to be a blessing to everybody, because that's who I am. And that's what I want to do. So one thing I want to highlight too is that as a person, if you're not sure who you are, then you're going to allow other people to speak those things over you. After Pharaoh gave Joseph power over Egypt, he gave him a new name. And if Joseph didn't know who he was in the Lord, then he could have let somebody else craft who he was and the way that he was going to lead. But he knew who he was and who he belonged to. John Wooden said, "Be more concerned with your character than your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are." So my encouragement to you guys is know who you belong to and steward your influence well, so that one day when you stand before God, the one who gives you power, you're ready to give a good account. I love you guys. Have a great week.